Okay, good morning. Commissioner Ed Rothstein, Thursday, September 8th. We have our open session this morning and no work session this afternoon.
Yay.
So, as always, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. And before we stand, September 11th is Sunday. It'll be our 21st anniversary of that horrific day. Just, at least for me, my moment of silence is reflecting during that time. We will be having an event at the training center starting at 8:30 on Sunday, September 11th on Sunday. Okay, thanks.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I see we have no proclamations either, which is something.
We used them
new.
all up last week.
Yeah, no kidding.
Or
So let's go
proclamation
right
down.
into Priority Carol. Commissioner Boucher.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner. I want to start off by reading the new hirees to the county. It's always a pleasure to welcome them aboard. Start out Nicholas Blizzard, Emergency Communications Specialist, Public Safety. Brian Bokey, Director of Public Works. Kimberly Dubert, Administrative Assistant, Fire and EMS. David Foster, Program Aide, Citizen Services. John Geisler, Plumbing Inspector, Permits and Inspection. Grayson Hubble, Emergency Communications Specialist, Public Safety. Giannia Porter, Park Superintendent, Rec and Parks. Kimberly Robinson, Buyer Purchasing. Amanda Schreider, Omnibusman Assistant, Citizen Services. Connor Trump, Emergency Communications Specialist, Public Safety. Sarah Ruse, Program Specialist, Citizen Services. Caleb Ludwig, Sheriff Recruitment, Sheriff's Office. Cody Poole, Sheriff Recruitment, Sheriff's Office. And Lisa Wise, Record Unit Technician, Sheriff's Office. Welcome aboard. It's always a pleasure to announce those names. Look forward to you being successful with us. Mr. Swam, do you have anything for me to show the public to go over? Maybe not.
I don't think we can do that today. It seems to have frozen up.
All right, well, we'll pass on to something else. Everyone have a lovely day. Thank you very much. Wrapped it up.
Okay, and also with new hires, Kim, did you want to give us an announcement of a also new hire?
Yes.
A VIP hire.
I'm bringing up Miss Christy Bixler. She will be the new Director of HR, taking over for me. I'm leaving things in great hands for her. I look forward to it. We've had her already this morning, and she's still here. Yay.
Been an hour.
In an hour. We've fed her, so all is good. So it's good. So I wanted to bring her up and introduce her.
You look awfully happy handing this off. Is there something we don't know?
Nope, I'm here to help her out, whatever she needs for the time that
I
I
think
am
it's
still
wonderful.
here, and we will go from there.
Thank
She's-
you. Thank you all for the
gonna do well.
opportunity. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to joining the team at Carroll County and continuing the success that you've had and moving the organization forward. So I'm excited.
Fantastic.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Very happy that you're here, and that's why I let you in the building this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Even though you didn't
I may
ride a
borrow
bike.
your bike at some point. But.
And great selfless service that you've provided, Kim, to our community for as long as you have. Welcome as well. Bringing the good things from Pennsylvania
I hope.
and leaving some of the bad things in Pennsylvania and
Yes.
keeping, providing your leadership here. Really looking forward to it. So,
Yes, thank you.
anything
As
else?
Ed said, Kim, thank you for what you've done. You've always been there for us to help, and I'm sure you're going to be always doing the same exact thing. So good luck to you in your retirement, and good luck to you in this new endeavor.
Thank you.
Anything?
So if I'll be able to say goodbye to you later on, but in public, we've known each other for a long time,
Yep.
and
Don't date me. Don't date my
I'm not
age.
going to do that because then that does back to me. So yeah, just
for everything that you've done here. And listen, HR is one of the most challenging departments in any jurisdiction. And I don't know that that's arguable. I believe it truly is. I dabbled in
any
a little
business,
bit in
yeah.
another jurisdiction and rapidly got the heck out of there because there's just always something. And with that being said, when those always somethings came up, you've always been here 24/7 at the beckoning call. So congratulations to you on a phenomenal career here in the county.
Thank you.
And you know that I wish you and John and Chris and the rest of your family nothing but the best moving forward.
Thank you. We'll be out at the Farm Museum this weekend for the tractor show.
Yeah.
If you're bored, come out to the tractor show.
And it's always interesting because, be careful what you say about people. Kim and John travel to a lot of these tractor shows, and you were in Indiana 2 weeks ago.
And Indiana, and
somebody
ran
came
into
up and
somebody
said,
that knows Commissioner
hey,
Wantz.
how's Steve Wentz? And I'm like, wait, what? So,
Unfortunately, I forgot his name, so.
that's probably a good thing. But anyway, that's another aspect of HR. I mean, you just all these things that you're responsible for. So I know that you'll hit the ground running. You already have, and I know you'll do a good job. But Kim, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
okay, thank you very much, Commissioner
have a great
Wentz.
day.
Well, put this up here so people know who you are.
Enjoy the farm.
To shine. Anyway, yeah.
2.5
Priority?
with 87 days to go. If they don't know by now, it's whatever. Yeah, a few things. Had a planning and zoning meeting the other night. It's one of the work sessions. Had a good meeting. I've been advised that the planning and zoning meeting coming up is going to be all day. As a matter of fact, they're bringing lunch in. So, gotta love stuff that's going on in planning and zoning.
What's
And
for
I-
lunch?
And I say, I don't know what's for lunch. Anyway, they do a great job there. I've said this numerous times. The folks that we brought on board and the way in which we bring them on board now with the interviews has been nothing less than wonderful there. Those guys are really a great part of that. So kudos to planning and zoning. Tawnytown Lions Club will be celebrating their 75th anniversary next week. Their charter night is Tuesday evening, I believe, and I'll be there to celebrate with them. We're going to soon be able to see Charles Carroll Community Center. We're going to go look at that later on. I'm looking forward to what that brings to that community up there, and I've given enough sermons about that, so I'll just let that go. September 24th, I'm putting a plug in for the Carroll County Scholarship Pageant to be held at Westminster High School. First time in many years that it's been brought back by two folks that are really involved in this. One of them was Miss Maryland in 2016, Hannah Brewer and her mom Heidi. And I think there's 22 young ladies in this contest. So it's going to be a great evening. Go on their website and you can get tickets for that event. Two other things, public safety wise, and then I'll be done. And well, NFL kicks off tonight. Yay to that. That's a sure sign of fall.
The Rams in Buffalo.
Yeah. So I'll be seeing you at M&T. Well, you and I will be seeing each other at the bank, Mr. Burke. So that's good. Had a shock trauma board meeting. As you know, I've been representing Carroll County on that board for the 8 years that I've been here. And Dr. Scalia has been there now for 25 years. And having that sort of an institution close to us, which is the best in the world, has been nothing short of tremendous.
My life.
And they've touched a ton of lives. But Dr. Scalia, particularly, took the ball from Dr. Calley and took it a step further. And if you don't think that they have done phenomenal work there, all you got to do is talk to Dr. Scalia about the challenges that they've had over the last year or two, not just with COVID, but with the fact that the Baltimore City is in the shape that it's in down there with the continuous activity that occurs there. So anyway, celebrating the 25th anniversary of Dr. Scalia this Saturday night. I'll be representing Carroll there. We did present a proclamation to Shock Trauma on behalf of all of us, and I recorded a little message that's going to be playing at the event site Saturday evening from Carroll, as well as the other various elected officials. But I'm looking forward to honoring a gentleman who is just he's one of the smartest guys I've ever had the opportunity to talk with, and he came up to me last week and thanked me and thanked the county for making the commitment that we did with the funding that we give to Shock Trauma on an annual basis. And I want to thank my colleagues for doing that as well. So that's Saturday evening, and I'm looking forward to that. And finally, Ed, you mentioned 9/11. Touched everyone in a lot of ways. Of course, 343 is ingrained in my mind because that's the amount of firefighters and paramedics that lost their lives that day. I was on night work, and it was an eerie night to work. And you know, it's interesting. I tell this story a lot. Usually, when you go into to take over for another shift, they're out of there. They're out of there as quick as they can get. They're relieved. See ya. See you tomorrow. That particular night, as we relieved the shift that we were coming on for, nobody left. Everybody stayed in the station that I was assigned to, and we all just sat there and we continued to watch the coverage. And it was one of the most life-altering experiences that I've ever had in my 47 years in the fire service. So I look forward to honoring all of those each year, and we are very lucky here in Carroll to have a piece of that tragedy. I was part of CC Visa when we acquired that, and that wasn't easy, so I applaud those that were able to get that piece of steel. And it's displayed out there. And when the governor was here last month or whenever, he was incredibly taken back by the fact that Carroll actually has this display. So he spent a good deal of time there talking with me about 9/11 and where he was and whatever in front of this. So that ceremony's at 8:30. We always encourage the public to attend. It's a short ceremony. It's only about 30 minutes long. And we'll be laying a wreath there in honor of all those that lost their lives. And I encourage folks to, if you can't come, just take a moment Sunday morning to remember how that not only changed the lives of us that were involved, but it changed the lives of all of us in this country. So with that being said, I'm done.
Thank you.
Commissioner Frazier.
Okay, we had the meeting of the opioid senior policy group on Wednesday. It will be my last meeting with them. It was a very sad meeting. I was kidding.
For who?
For me, everyone else.
Oh, okay,
Everyone else was
okay,
very happy
okay.
that I was leaving.
Okay.
And there was applause at the end. I couldn't get it, but anyway.
They had a party.
A good thing that came out, a good information that came out of there was that the overdose fatalities in Carroll County are down 8.5% from this year as compared to this time last year, which is really great. Is really good sign. Now, of course, year's not over. We don't know what's going to be at the end of the year, but at the same time, from last year to this year, it's down 8.5%. And this group meets. There's I think there was like 34 people on the call because it's a virtual meeting right now. But what the value of this is, someone, and I won't get into details, but someone brought up an incident that had happened, and what had happened, and it goes back and forth. But then people said, why? Maybe we should look at doing it this way in the future, doing it that way. So they got together, and something that happened that wasn't the best, and we came up with another way to handle it in the future. And now everyone's on board
with working toward a solution so that the incident that happened wouldn't happen again. So that's why these groups are so valuable and everyone gets together and talks, because then you have synergy and people go back and forth about, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, and it moves forward. So that was really good. It was like it crystallized in my mind why we had these meetings with all the different agencies. And there's going to be a suicide luminary walk at Wakeful Valley Park on September 9th from 7:30 to 9. And Out of the Darkness walk at Crimgo Park on September 10th at 10 o'clock in the morning. I will be at the one at Crimgo Park. I'm not sure about the Wakeful Valley Park
I'll
right
be
now.
there with you.
Okay, and Commissioner Boucher will be at Crimgo Park as well. Also brings up the 988 was launched in June. If you're having any feelings of harming yourself or other people, please call 988. Get the help that you need. You will be connected with a local professional that can help you. And I'll stop right there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Weaver.
Well, first of all, I guess this weekend at the Farm Museum, the Mason-Dixon Historical Society has their show there. If you want to take the family out to check turn of the century, last century agriculture and how it worked, they'll be available. And one thing coming up that is really very moving on 9/23, Post 200, American Legion in Hampstead always has their POW MIA candlelight vigil. And that's always a very touching moment there. And as I've already alluded to, this Sunday morning we do have the 911 ceremony out here at the Public Training Center. But also, I ask everybody, with everything going on this weekend, the Maryland State Fair is extended an extra weekend, Saturday and Sunday. The football season kicks off for the Ravens here on Sunday and a lot of teams. But take a few minutes and remember what happened in 9/11, where you were and what happened and what this meant to this country. And just take, if you can't attend the ceremony, please just take a few minutes and remind your family members what happened and why we are the country we are. So, thank you.
I appreciate it. And I'll be sharing a few thoughts that morning. And, nothing about 9/11, for those who passed and perished, was partisan. They didn't care if they were black, white, Asian, Islamic, Jew, Christian, whatever. People died, they died. And, it's just this attitude of, very frustrating right now. Name calling and all this other garbage that's out there. It's like we lose the bubble on what happens of just being who we are. So, because it hit everybody, and we always look at, we always look at things on anniversaries, whether it's a 0 or a 5, the 20th anniversary or the 25th anniversary. This is the 21st anniversary or, time of 9/11. It's just as important as the 20th or 25th or any other date. And we should reflect on it that way, that this should never, ever be forgotten. The other thing I just want to share on a much lighter note and a very positive note is I happened to participate in a couple work sessions, not knowing that the three of you were going to be sitting here in the audience. Participating in a couple work sessions held by the Board of Education regarding the schools, public schools, and the redistricting ideas of the public schools, specifically in the southern part of our county, as there's some continued growth happening. I believe all of my colleagues and I, along with the Board of Education, along with a whole lot of others, got input from the community on what their desires are, on either moving forward or not moving forward. Very much appreciated, and really appreciate when the community comes together and has the ability to reach out and build a dialogue with us, with the Board of Education, with the superintendent, with the school system, because their voice matters. I was very impressed by the volunteers, the SARC, which is the, Southern area redistricting committee. Wow. I threw that one out there. And it was a handful of volunteers. It was a couple from our own staff. And they came together with recommendations and options. I was very impressed with the Board of Education's dialogue over the 2 work sessions. It was very much in depth, very thoughtful, and we came away yesterday, and I was appreciative of having the ability to participate with the Board of Education work sessions. Came away yesterday with some ideas that they, I believe, are going to bring forward in their next formal meeting by motions and approvals on what the next steps are going to be in a feasibility study of looking at a couple of the schools and keeping the momentum going in understanding the needs for redistricting in the southern part of the county and the communities, but not jumping right into redistricting decisions. Let's do the feasibilities of capital projects, potential capital projects, and then move forward. So I may be giving a little bit of a preview of some of what's going to be happening next week, but very good in-depth conversations. I believe they were both taped, and you can view them as well. The documents, I mean, we're talking about 100 pages of stuff is all also available on the CCPS website, I believe, and very in-depth, very thoughtful process.
You realize redistricting is probably one of the toughest things any school system ever has to do, because no matter what you do, somebody's going to be unhappy in the process. But it's sometimes just needed. It has to happen and should happen on a regular basis.
Well,
To look
yeah, I think what was really most important to me, and then I'll get off of this, is that you got to put it on the table. And whether it stays on the table or not, but you got to put it on the table and have that open discussion. And that's what the Board of Education did over the last 2 work sessions. That's what the input from the community allowed us to further discuss. So I really was impressed by the process that took place. And Superintendent, your leadership goes a long ways, and that showed with the staff, so I appreciate that as well. With that, and it's a pretty good segue, let's get right into item number 1, which is the FY22 operating budget adjustment, 22 tax 01 for the Carroll County Public Schools.
Good morning, and thank you. I wanted to
Oh, and John, you did okay too.
Oh, wow, thank you. I wanted to shock Commissioner Wentz by bringing the A-team today.
Yeah, all-star cast.
A+, I guess.
There you go.
Obviously, you're not talking about Mr. Burke.
Good morning.
One, not this one.
Yeah, that's right. I had to clarify that.
There you go. Good morning, Commissioners. I wanted to come over personally this morning to bring greetings from the school system and let you know that we've had a successful start to another school year. The first few days of school are going very well. I also wanted to thank you for your ongoing support of the school system. And we are here for a budget adjustment, hopefully a simple budget adjustment. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. O'Neill.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Superintendent McCabe. We're here for a budget adjustment for in-kind support in our budget, and I have the real Mr. Burke here for technical guidance and help if
As opposed to the
needed.
fake Mr.
The
Burke?
other Mr. Burke, yeah. So this is a budget adjustment. It's a little bit interesting because it's not additional revenue that's discretionary in terms of the Board of Ed's ability to use it or spend it in a certain way. It's rather a recognition of the contribution you make to the school system through funding the school resource officer program through Sheriff DeWeese's office. And so this has been in place for a few years since the Safe to Learn Act passed, I believe, in 2018. And your staff notified us the middle of the last month roughly that it was time to recognize it in the portion of our budget or in our budget where other in-kind services have always been recognized. So it's not new or different or unique in that sense. It's just that in terms of the SRO program, county staff is now recognizing that contribution in the Board of Ed's budget. From a timing standpoint, however, that came after the Board of Ed had adopted the budget and you had finalized the county budget. And so it would throw our budget categorical total a little bit off if we don't go ahead and make the adjustment in real time. So we asked the Board of Ed to do that last month. We asked for a quick turnaround on your agenda, which we appreciate, so that hopefully you can approve this now, and then it will be accounted for in the annual financial audit that's required of every Board of Ed in Maryland within the next month or so. So with that, we are happy to answer any questions or.
Well, this has probably been one of the most successful programs in the country, as it was recognized. And, the school system, the sheriff's department put together a phenomenal program, and those deputies, I've seen them in action. They really do a great job. And even when they're not in school in the summer, the number of kids that run up to them and actually hug them and talk to them is unbelievable. The program is true community policing, and yet keeping our schools safe. And thank you, Sheriff, who's sitting in the back here, as well as the school system for making this happen. But this is an unbelievable program you guys have developed, and the county has a little part of that, but truly is phenomenal.
Mr. O'Neill, thanks for explaining the technical aspect of this, because the accounting gets kind of convoluted at times. Also, I want to thank Superintendent McCabe for attending today. This is very timely of you to show up as school starts. I believe this might be the first time as superintendent you've been before this board. I think you inspire others, and it's good for the public to see you here conversing with us, because so often we have to interact on these issues. And I wish you tremendous success. I know you're responsible for taking me out and interviewed mental health officials in the school system. You know how important that is to me. And if there's anything in the future you want me to go out and do a follow-up, I'd love to participate in that, because we're not out of the woods yet. And I'm sure that your staff has a lot of concerns, and we want to make sure we keep the public informed. And also, I want to thank the sheriff back there. I believe that this SRO program is laying the groundwork for future deputies. I mean, the positive impact that this program is having upon our younger generations is going to pay off tremendous dividends in the future. So I'm very grateful for everything all of you do. It makes this county so wonderful, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
With that, I'll make the motion, the Board of Commissioners approve the operating budget adjustment 22-01 for the Board of Education FY22 operating fund budget.
Second.
I got a motion, and I think a couple of seconds. Any discussion? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Just also share with the SRO last year with that young man who was taken care of, and it was a full court press with the nurse and everybody involved, with the ROTC and with the SRO, and most recently with the young man at Winters Mill football game, because you talked about shock trauma, and that's what I thought about is the work that they're doing at shock trauma as he was flown there. The update from the article today, but also speaking with you as well, that he is moving in the right direction, and that's great. So providing strength and courage to him and his family. And Sheriff, again, thank you for sharing with me his father, so I was able to reach out to him as well. And his father is one of our teammates in the Sheriff's Department. So, shock trauma is one of a kind. So, fantastic. Just wanted to throw that out there. Good stuff. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about acceptance of FY23 Police Accountability, Community, and Transparency Grant.
Good morning, Commissioners. So we're here this morning asking for your approval for accepting an award that for a grant that we received. We put in earlier in the spring for the FY23 Police Accountability, Community, and Transparency Grant, known as the PACT grant. They're famous for acronyms. So the office was awarded this grant to assist with the implementation of requirements of the Maryland House Bill 670, which requires the establishment of additional accountability and discipline processes for law enforcement. Support for body-worn cameras was also an eligible expense. We put in and received our entire request. The components of that were 2 kinds of software that we feel we're going to need going forward as part of meeting the requirements for HB 670. A public portal for tracking investigations and complaints, and a Public Information Act tracking software, expecting just increases and being able to better manage and track those. And also hardware, computers, monitors, and network management devices and antennas to support the body-worn camera uploads in the vehicles. So just more components of the project that we came to you last week for. As you see on your briefing for budget, there are 2 categories, software and hardware. The total program, we were awarded $198,900. So we're asking for your accepting of the grant. And
So there is no
questions?
county match to it. Mrs. McDonald and Debbie Staniford in the grants office are excellent at looking for grants and quickly putting in for them and securing funds like this so that we can have this one-time money to do this. This was the antenna, like their own server that I was talking about last week. This money covers that. But there's also a public portal that needs to be put in place so that the public, if you're the complainant in an investigation against one of my deputies, you can track it. This software will be purchased, is a higher level software that a lot of the big agencies use. And it doesn't just track complaints, but it's also a system that will identify any issues for the future, use of force, training. There's a number of things in this piece of software that really helps us with HB 650 and tracking that. And it'll help Mr. Burke's office and the new accountability folks that you put into place.
Will you be able to track this just if you're the complainant, or will anyone be able to track what's going
Just a
on?
complainant, yeah.
So yes, so the part of the bill requirements are if someone, a citizen files a complaint, that they're required to be able to log into a system and track the status of their complaint.
Okay, so
Only
no-
their
so other
complaint.
people won't be able to track what's going on. Okay,
No,
okay.
So
So
they
the-
get a, for lack of better words, they get a PIN number that they can
Right.
access, and once a complaint's done and they're notified of resolution of the complaint, then it would deactivate but again, I don't get a lot of complaints, so there won't be a lot of traffic going through that, but still, it's got to be put in place by every agency in the state. And so this really solves an awful lot. Not only does it solve a lot with notifying the public in a portal for the public, but it's also a system that my internal investigators can use in order to enter information into the system so that I can go in and track the complaint and see where they're at. And so it is a good system.
And this covers the software support for 1 year?
Yes,
Just for, and what's, I understand, but
yes.
is there a chance to get grants for the
There could
following
be.
years, or?
We don't know, and I've already spoken with our budget analyst, so she's aware of all that software and
So
that
something
the
you'll be looking
potential
at
for
then.
ongoing, since it's
Okay.
something that we're going to need. But they never tell you this is a new grant, so with it being new, and it literally popped up at the very last minute in May, and it was like, what's this for? And, oh, okay, let's get busy. So you never know if they will in turn put it out again next year.
Right.
And so we keep an eye on that. But yeah, budget's already aware that those pieces will need to continue regardless if there's a grant or
I mean,
not.
something we have to do, so it's nice to have the grant money to get
It
it
could
started
be,
with.
it could be something, and Heidi knows that we have to budget for in out years, that we may budget and still apply for the grant and be able to get it. Unfunded mandate. Right now, we're up to probably almost $2 million just besides this and hardware for the cars and body-worn cameras, and, we're in the high 100s. Right now, that's all been grant funded through grants that Mrs. McDonald and Debbie have applied for that we've been awarded. But for example, the body-worn camera and the in-car camera system, all the software and hardware that goes with that, that's 5 years. If we can't find another grant in 5 years, then the next board's going to have to look at how we fund that. And but our analyst is exceptional, and she gets it. So we look at what's going to happen in the next 5-6 years if we can't get another grant. And so, but everything so far has been taken care of through grants.
Okay.
Yeah.
I make the motion, the Board of County Commissioners accept the FY23 Police Accountability, Community, and Transparency Grant.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And thank you for the support of my deputy and his son over at Winters Mill. Perry Lyons is the deputy. He works over at the Circuit Courthouse. He's an excellent individual. His son's a good young man and very tragic, but they're pulling through, and hopefully, by the grace of God, he'll make a full recovery. But at this point, there's no explanation as to what happened. But had it not been for first responders at St. John's, had it not been for an AED, which was placed on him, he would not have survived. No two ways about it.
Right.
So
Which is
appreciate the
remarkable.
support.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about lampposts. Boy,
Shine some light on this one.
we went
You're
from
waiting to say it.
we went from schools to body-worn cameras to lampposts.
You hear it all.
Exciting stuff.
Good morning, Commissioners. Before we start, I would like to introduce Kim Robinson. She is the buyer in the Office of Procurement. And at this point, I am going to turn it over to Kim.
Okay.
Hi, it's a
First,
pleasure
I say
meeting you.
welcome, Kim.
Oh, thank you so much.
New buyer. My wife would like to have a job as a buyer. She does that all the time in my house, but yeah. Go ahead.
I appreciate the welcome, and it's a pleasure meeting you all. But today I have the Office of Procurement in cooperation with the Bureau of Facilities request your approval to award the purchase of 8 exterior lampposts to CN Robinson LTG Supply Company in the amount of $29,334. These units will be installed at the Carroll County House Annex. CN Robinson was awarded a competitively bid contract by Baltimore County. This amount is approved in the FY23 budget, and no additional funds should be required.
Morning, Commissioners. We're here today for your approval to purchase new site lighting for the courthouse annex. The current site lighting is 25 years old and is near its end of lifespan. The conversion to LED from incandescent will provide longer lifespan of these current fixtures and could reduce the energy up to 75% rather than the incandescent lights that we currently have on site. They also provide a higher lumen output, which will improve safety and more security around that site, being in the crucial area that it is in. The existing poles are in poor condition as well, so the new poles we're going to be replacing is going to be powder coated, which will prevent corrosion, rust on the new poles and extend the lifespan of those poles as well. One of the things here is the installation for this project will be done in-house by facility staff. And as of now, the poles are currently 14 to 18 weeks out, and the fixtures, the lamps, are 8 to 10 weeks out. So once we receive all the components, our main goal is to get this project in and done before wintertime.
What do you do with the old lampposts that you're taking out?
Well, we'll recycle them, put them in the scrap bin, the landfill.
Because I was just at an auction this past weekend, and they were selling some old lampposts or something from, I don't know where it came from, but, you know, they were public stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't
We
bid on 'em,
could
by the way.
potentially look into that. We haven't done that in the past. We usually keep 1 or 2 just for spares in case we need parts at another site, and then the other ones we recycle. But we could look into that.
I was just curious, thank you.
You know, 25 years, again, it's just, to me, when I hear things that are 25 years or longer like this, we purchase really well the quality. And purchasing quality allows us to go a long, lifespan. And I've said it before, with maintenance, or preventive maintenance is just phenomenal. When I sit back and hear we're replacing something after 25, 30, 40 years,
We've done good.
we've done very well. So, yeah,
Just a side note, they're going to mimic the lights out here along the front here on North Center Street, the 6-side lantern. So I'm trying to make everything uniform around the complex.
Okay.
It's a good idea.
I'll move the Board of Commissioners approve the purchase of 8 lampposts for Carroll County Courthouse Annex to CN Robinson in the amount of $29,334.
Second.
We got a motion, got a second. Any discussion? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
absolutely, thank you. Now let's talk about culvert repairs.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Okay, the Office of Procurement in cooperation with the Bureau of Roads Operation requests your approval to use an existing term contract with ProShot Concrete Incorporated to make multiple culvert repairs, 6 places within 3 locations on Stover Road in Tawnytown at the cost of $54,780. Turn it over to Kathy.
Good morning. As we've been doing over the past few years, we've been investigating the structures under the roads due to failures, dips, and these pipes on Stover Road are failing. The ground is eroding underneath the bad pipes, so we want to have ProShot come in, do a 3-inch lining on. There's 3 sets of twin pipes. One pipe will have a 7-foot invert liner. The one will have a 3-foot, and one will have a 5-foot invert that will be concreted, and then we will be able to go back in and do the repairs on the road, and we'll not have any more washout and depressions.
And doing these repairs actually saves us a lot of money as opposed to pulling the entire pipe out.
Absolutely. It keeps the roads open. It saves a lot of money by having them repaired. And they last for, another 50 years.
Great. With that, I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the culvert repairs on Stover Road to ProShot Concrete, Inc. in the amount of $54,780.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any discussion? Seeing here none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. You're 1 for 1. Now let's talk about double chip seal treatment with fog seal.
Sealing going on.
What's that?
A lot of sealing going on.
There's a lot of sealing. You got seal treatment, fog seal.
Sounds like an ice cream sundae or something.
Fine.
Okay. Go ahead.
The Office of Procurement in cooperation with the Bureau of Roads Operation requests your approval to add additional monies to an existing double chip seal with fog seal surface treatment project to American Paving Fabrics Incorporated in the amount of $508,157.37, bring the total project cost to $1,370,817.37. This request is due because of an increase in the asphalt index and square yardage adjustment. This work is per Carroll County contract. This amount is within the FY23 budget, and no additional funds should be necessary.
Any questions on this? I had asked Chris Swam to put some pictures up of what this year's roads look like. I've got, I believe, John Shirk, Balker, Turkey Foot. The increase is substantial, and I'm aware of that, but we also increased the square yardage by about 80,000. When we do these cost estimates, initially we base the road on 18 feet wide. Some of these roads, Kawamu at Sawmill, for instance, can have areas that are 30 feet wide. To allow for pull-off and things like that. Additionally, this year, we asked the contractor to go side to side. Last year, we pretty much stuck with our 18 feet, and we have found that we're getting a lot of washout with the ditch lines, and it's kind of eroding underneath a little bit. So this year, the contractor was, it was requested to do side to side. They're going down over the sides of the ditch line, so we're not having any washout. And over years, gravel roads tend to have gotten a little bit wider, so 18 foot is just an average that we came up with, and that's what amounted for the additional $80,000 or 80,000 square yards. In addition to the asphalt index, which everybody's aware of, has been astronomical. The asphalt index alone is $175,000. It's just because of what it cost with the fuel pricing. Since the contract was put in place back in January, I believe February 9th is when we signed this contract. And then, as we all know, fuel prices went through the roof. So that's the justification for the additional cost. Any questions?
I appreciate this program, and I think we've been going through a learning curve. I know Commissioner Wance and I have dealt with constituent calls, especially during the winter, and we had to see what works and what don't work. And addressing the fact that the washout was taking place on the side is one of those, in particular, things that need to be addressed. So I appreciate what you're doing. And I like that a lot of the citizens out there who are initially resistant to the idea, once they've seen it in place, they realize that it's still a gravel road, but it's harder and it's preserved better, especially in the winter, because at the winter time is when we see the most damage with the water getting in there and freezing and busting it up. And with that, I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the additional amount of $508,000, $157.37 to American Paving Fabrics, Inc. for the double chip seal or fog seal surface treatment project.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
Since you're going, you said you're normally 18 foot wide is what you're looking at. Are you making an adjustment to that so when your calculations come in, that you're closer to what it is?
Next year, yes, if you travel these roads, you can stop 15 different spots and have 15 different locations and different widths. Next year, we are finishing up the project, so we only have, I believe, about 10 to 11 miles of road left. So there, we can try to measure every 50 feet or every 100 feet, but it still is very tough because some places literally are very skinny.
Right.
And then some are very wide, so.
Right, I was just thinking, since 18 feet doesn't seem to be enough, why not
Right.
just make it 20?
Make
and,
it 20, I could do
and
that.
then just
Make
go
it
from
20
there.
or 21 for next year,
'Cause if you-
estimate high.
Right, and if you have extra money, it's not a big deal.
Right, right. I could do that.
Did you have?
So,
Yeah.
so how long are these services lasting? We just did Hughes Shop. We're doing it again? It's Hughes Shop's on here.
This is for what was done, right? This is for the project that was just finished. This is what was above.
Okay, that's the dirt part of, or the gravel part of Hughes
Yes,
Shop?
yes,
Okay.
yes. This is for the gravel part of Hughes Shop. You're thinking, okay, yes, we did ask for additional money for American Paving for
Yeah.
their preservation. This
Right.
is for the gravel road project. Yes, they're two separate things.
Okay. I don't like double chip seal. I don't like it. I don't like the fog seal. I never have. I've said that for a long time, and I don't think. I've asked a couple times for DPW to look at a different way of doing these things, because I think there's got to be better ways to do it, and I don't think we're getting. You've always told me you thought we were, but I don't think we're getting our bang for the buck on these things. I just don't. And I've been hearing from constituents that we're not.
On the preservation end or on the gravel road project?
Both ends. Both it just seems like, from a constituent standpoint, we're there and then we come back and then we come back again and come back. As a whole, whether it's preservation or the double chip seal when you're resurfacing the roads. And that's why I asked about Hughes Shop, because the wear and tear on Hughes Shop, I know how long has it been since we've done that one?
Kathy, we got Doug behind you also.
I'm getting away from this. I get this preservation part of it. I got it. But
yeah, we are looking at. Remember, we brought before you about a month or so ago with engineering the new thin overlays, where we took that is another option. So we hear what you're saying. We are exploring into that. That's the first time that we have done that in quite some time. So we are working for the thin overlay. And I will say, recently I have actually heard and forwarded along some compliments
I've seen those too
from Pinch Valley, where they said this is fantastic. You have solved those problems. It is absolutely a fine edge, and every time we're on that edge, it does become about the money and the bang that we can get for the buck overall in the county. And yes, are there things out there that would last longer? Yes, Commissioner, you're right. There are, but those come at a much more costly dollar amount to put those down and put those in place, which would shrink the amount of roads that we can do. I mean, thanks to you all, in 3 years, I will tell you, and Kathy and Jim can allude, our complaints on gravel roads for what we have done in the last 2 years have turned from majority of complaint to majority of compliment. So while we still may have the customers out there that complain occasionally, we are getting more compliments and complaints.
yeah, I usually only get the complaints. So.
Yes, sir, you do.
That
Exactly.
That.
And we're sorry for that. We're
and-
trying.
Yeah, I know you are, and I just, it won't be for me to decide, but I hope that you continue to look at other
Absolutely.
methods.
Yep.
Because chip seal, I'm not a big fan. I just have
We
I've
would
never
love it.
been.
And if we're able to get some of that $10 million in state highway revenue funds that was cut many years ago back,
Yeah.
we would certainly be able to address that even more aggressively. But until that catches up, it is a difficult task to get.
And it sounds easy to make them wider, and that's a great comment. But, we just had an incident up where when we did make it wider, you got into a conversation with the folks, with a couple folks that said, wait a minute, that's my property.
Sure.
So let's be careful about how wide we make these things.
So, and I think the comment to width is if the road does exist, just to clarify on that issue, and that is a good point, if the road already existed in gravel, before when they took an 18-foot path, it's just like a paver going down. They set that thing on 18 feet, they find the middle and they go, which means if it actually happened to be 20 feet, we've still got or 22, 2 foot on each side hanging over that weren't treated. What that does for our dollar is then it doesn't make it as effective because the water penetrates that, gets under it, and will erode the sides of the road because people travel on it. So not extending the width of the roadway, but covering the existing width of the roadway, which, as you all know, changes on these roads depending upon where they're at. But we are cognizant of property owner rights, and we're cognizant of the fact that 70% of our roads on or about are prescriptive easement, and we are always very respectful of that, but maintaining it to keep the road open. But I appreciate that and allowing us to clarify that point.
Well, again, I in no way, this is not a negative to you all as staff, because you do a phenomenal job, and the very fact that you changed the way in which we communicated with those that live on these roads was wonderful, and you've done a great job. But in the back of my mind, the chip seal is just something I've never been a fan of. Won't be for the next 87 days, and probably won't be in the future, but it won't be up to me. But I hope you continue to look for something that is a viable alternative to that.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's talk about pipe reline over at Markley Road.
The Office of Procurement in cooperation with the Bureau of Roads Operation requests your approval to award Pleasance Construction Incorporated, an existing term contractor, to perform a pipe reline on Markley Road in Finksburg in the amount of $28,932.19. Carroll County will be piggybacking Harford County contract. This amount is within the FY23 budget, and no additional funds should be necessary.
Just waiting to see if Chris got my picture up. This is a pipe that is failing, there it is. As you can see, there's no bottom in the bottom of that pipe. It is completely rotted out, which once again is causing the dirt around the pipe to wash out underneath of it, creating depressions in the road that we are continuously having to go back and patch and lift. Having this pipe lined will alleviate that problem, eliminate that problem, and then we can go in and make a permanent patch, pull out the old blacktop, put some dirt in there, pack it down, and have a nice smooth road surface again.
Makes sense. Pheasants does a great job too. I move the Board of County Commissioners approve the pipe reline work to Pleasant Construction in the amount of $28,932.19.
Second.
Okay, got a motion second, any discussion? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Let's talk about approval for fee simple purchase of 2.7541 acres of land north of Indian Valley Trail and west of Pinch Valley Road.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Mark.
The Department of Public Works has negotiated to purchase a parcel containing 2.75 acres of land in fee simple. The land is being purchased, I'm sorry, for $127,000. The land is being purchased in connection with the Carroll County Airport Runway Safety Improvement Project. We've received FAA concurrence on this property, and the FAA will reimburse the county 90% of the cost, with MAA reimbursing 5% and the county paying 5% of the cost of the purchase.
And that sells the deal right there.
Yeah, no kidding. It's pretty impressive when you get 95% cost from others and,
Yep.
okay.
I make the motion the Board of County Commissioners approve the purchase of land north of Indian Valley Trail and west of Pinch Valley Road for $127,000.
Second.
Got a motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Gentlemen, thank you. Okay, let's talk about a loan request for Tonytown Volunteer Fire Company.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
With me today, our Director Robinson, Fire and EMS, and I have Mr. Haynes, President of Tawnytown Fire Company, and Mr. Parker, Treasurer of Tawnytown Fire Company. We have received a application from Tawnytown Fire Company to borrow money from the county through the low interest loan program. They have requested to borrow $400,000 to be used for a new Seagrave engine tanker. The term of the loan will be 7 years, and the county will hold the mortgage lien on the property or on the engine. Just a little background on the loans that the county offers to fire companies who are within the county, and it's an opportunity for them to take advantage to use the county's financing program in order to borrow for their own needs. The loans are for either building or some piece of fire equipment or renovation to the buildings. They do have other sources through the state, but sometimes the timing isn't right, or they have to choose what's the best rate and best interest for them. If this proceeds and you approve, we will work with fire company to get the loan so they can continue purchasing their fire engine. Currently, Tawnytown does not have any current outstanding loans with us, so they don't have any outstanding bills. And I'm asking for the board's approval of the loan request. Approval will allow the fire company to proceed with the purchase of the engine. Additionally, I'm requesting the board to adopt the resolution declaring the county's official intent to reimburse expenditures with debt proceeds. This resolution enables the fire company and the county to expend funds with the intention to reimburse with future proceeds in the amount of $400,000, subject to the requirement of tax-exempt debt. And just remember, this doesn't commit the county to the debt. It's a pass-through to the fire company because we loan them the money. Mr. Robertson, Mr. Haynes, and Mr. Parker and myself are all here for questions.
A couple quick questions. One is, upon approval of this, how long does it take to actually get the vehicle, engine tanker, in hand over at Tawnytown?
2 years from the time we placed the order.
2 years. Okay. The other is this the Cadillac of engine tankers? Is this the top line? Is this midline? It's obviously sufficient for your needs. I know nothing about this equipment, so just, what are your thoughts?
It's basically what we need to replace what we have.
Okay.
It's not the Cadillac.
Right.
What we need to replace what we have.
And then when what you have, you will then either sell off or?
Yes. We'll try to sell it one way or another. Try to recoup something from it.
How long have you had it?
On it, we'll move to the new one.
Just curious, how long have you had it?
It's almost 22 years old.
5.4?
54, engine tanker 54.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that's the one you were replacing.
Just,
so.
okay, I appreciate that. So,
Where's the rest of the money coming from? You guys do it with the fundraising, or because I know 400,000 is just a drop in the tank. See what I did there?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Drop in the tank, girl.
Yeah.
The original cost on it is just under 900,000.
okay.
Thanks to the recovery that we're having from the pandemic, we've had a good carnival year, and we hope to continue that through fundraisers, and we have inner funds enough to make up the difference.
Good deal.
Wow.
Is it 2 years out to get this is because that's how long it takes to get it, or because you're going to get the funds together completely first?
Excuse me, I don't.
You said it's going to be 2 years before the piece of equipment actually comes to you.
Yes.
Is that because you want to get all the money together first, or is it because that's how long it takes for the piece of equipment to be?
That's how long it takes
Yeah.
to get the piece of equipment.
Wow.
Okay.
Hopefully that'll improve.
Right.
That's doubled.
That's a long time.
You know, it used to be about a year. Now they're giving 2. So, Seagrave that far behind? I
Yes.
guess they are.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll make the motion. Is there any more?
No, that was
All right, I'll
good.
make the motion. We approve the loan request of 400,000 for Tawnytown, and also adopt the resolution declaring the county's intent to reimburse expenditures with the debt proceeds.
Second.
I got a motion, I got a second. Any further discussion? Appreciate it, gentlemen. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck, guys.
Yep, Tawnytown, thanks you very much. Thank you.
Tawnytown throws a
Now-
wonderful carnival, and I highly recommend everyone get out there. It's a far end of the county, but it's worth the ride, and there's lots of wonderful people out there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now let's talk about Lineborough. Gentlemen,
The other upper corner of the county.
This is the area should have been District 2 and finally is.
That took a while.
Now, I forgot my hearing aids, so you have to speak up.
What to yell at you.
I got halfway to Westminster and I'm going,
That was slow reaction on your behalf.
Well, no, I gave it to you like 4 years ago. You just didn't know it.
Oh, okay.
okay, until,
So we have, again, we have Mr. Michael Robinson, Director of Fire and EMS. We have Mr. Donald Fair, who is President of the Lineborough Fire Company, and
Nathan Sarasitis, who's our EMS captain.
Morning.
we have received a loan application from Lineborough Fire Company. They are for the county's low-interest loan program. They are requesting to borrow $350,000 to be used for a new ambulance. The term of the loan would be 7 years, and the county would hold the mortgage on this property as well. Currently, Lineborough has an outstanding county loans in the amount of $1,492,112, and they are current on all payments. I'm asking for the board's approval of the loan request, and approval will allow the fire company to proceed with the purchase of the ambulance. And again, I'm also additionally requesting that the board adopt the resolution for the county's official intent to reimburse expenditures with debt proceeds in the amount of $400,000 with tax-exempt debt.
How comfortable are you with this additional debt? Because I noticed Tawnytown had no existing debt.
I am comfortable. I've reviewed their financial statements. I feel that it's sufficient, and I discussed with Director Robinson to make sure we're on the same page and everything. So I've reviewed their full financial statements.
So they're not overextended. And I know that you all do an absolutely wonderful Halloween fundraiser with the hay rides and the tours. I used to take my daughters up there. They absolutely loved it. So in order to help finance this, I'm recommending everyone out there get up to Lineborough, patronize their haunted hayride. It is absolutely a wonderful family event to go to. And I just want to double check, you're staying away from the chainsaws?
Yes, wife's orders.
I bet. Well, I'm so happy that you fully recovered. You're not deformed. It was very scary. I attended a ceremony for you with Commissioner Wance. It was very emotional. I sat in church next to Commissioner Wance, and he sang quite well, as a matter of fact. And it was just a very emotional experience for all of us, especially in your community, to step up and be there for you. And it's so wonderful to see you fully recovered and not deformed in any way. It was quite scary for you and your wife. So thank goodness you're staying away from the chainsaws.
Similar questions to the last. How long does it take to get an ambulance in place?
So the order has already been placed for the new unit. We're expecting delivery sometime around March of 2023.
Okay.
So it's already in production.
And this $350,000 is not the full cost of an ambulance, or is it?
Yes, so that
Oh,
would
it
cover
is?
all of
Okay,
our expenses.
okay.
Yes, sir.
He getting it through.
It's a road rescue body, Ford chassis.
Oh.
It's through Atlantic Emergency Solutions.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's a good price.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you did some good homework on that one. Nicely done.
That's why it's in line to get built.
Yeah, that's good.
Percent increase in December.
Yeah, yeah,
deal.
that's good.
Where's the old ambulance still in service? Or you gonna?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you run a lot of calls across the line and all over the place up there. So,
Do.
how you have staffing for this?
We do. We have paid staffing that's also supplemented by volunteers, such as myself and the other EMS officers.
Okay. I'll move the Board of Commissioners approve the loan request for $350,000 by the Lime Borough Volunteer Fire Department and adoption of the resolution declaring the county's intent to reimburse expenditures with debt proceeds.
Second.
Okay, got a motion, I think, a couple of seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Good
thank
luck.
you. And Mike, we'll see you Sunday, I imagine.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, let's talk about Carroll County Economic Development and Land Use Study. 55 Foxtrot, TAC 2, TAC 2122. Ladies?
Good morning. The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Department of Planning and the Department of Economic Development, request your approval to award WGI a contract in the amount of $164,500 to provide professional consulting services in analyzing economic development and land use opportunities in the county. And just a little background on the process. This was a request for proposal. A committee was formed of 5 members to conduct the technical and financial review of the 2 proposals submitted. The committee evaluated the proposals based on the criteria detailed in the RFP, and the task of each committee member was to independently review and rate the technical and financial proportions of the proposal. Once this was completed, the committee members came to a consensus and recommended the best value proposal of the work required. And this expenditure is within the approved budget, so no additional funds should be necessary. And I'll turn it over to Linda to answer your questions or explain more about the project.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. So we adopted a master plan in 2014, and under Maryland law, we need to adopt and evaluate our master plans every 10 years. So 2024 would be that next plan. Part of that process needs to be a comprehensive look at our economic development land opportunities within the county. We'll also be coming back to you for a housing study to kind of lay the groundwork of where Carroll, where the community and where the elected body would like to see Carroll County move into the next decade. So with this, will help set the framework and groundwork for the next master planning effort.
Have we done this before? Is like every 10 years does this happen? I'm not.
So prior master plans had to be adopted every 6 years back in the early to mid 2000s. Now the requirement is every 10 years. And what happens under Maryland law is if you don't have an updated or active plan and you go to do rezonings and things like that, the state of Maryland could deny some of those requests because you don't have an up-to-date comprehensive plan. As you know, our Planning Commission also has to approve all development plans with consistency with the master plan. So if you have too much of an outdated plan, it becomes very challenging for them then to marry the pieces together if the community and market are going in one direction, but the plan has remained stagnant. So that's the importance of maintaining and updating our plans. As far as an economic development study, we have not done one since 2005, and I believe that was started in 2003, the Edlin study. And over the last 16, 17 years, we've had a lot of changes from the Great Recession to COVID to just technology and other dynamics in the workplace and in the market for economic development, and what Carroll's land availability is to meet those needs of this current century and beyond.
I guess what I'm trying to get at, how successful was it before? How beneficial is it?
So that plan, the Edlins plan, was a very well done, detailed economic development study. We did use that for the 2014 master plan. The original intent for the Edlin study was for another plan that ended up not moving forward at that time and was shelved for years. So it was we utilized it because it was still valuable information to have for the 2014 plan. I do not anticipate this will be the same issue with how we are moving forward with the comprehensive plan approach, and that this plan will be very valuable in setting that groundwork for the future.
Good. That's what I want to hear.
The costs are very different in
Yes.
the competitive proposals. Is BAE just not capable or competent in doing the
Sure. So both firms are very competent and capable of doing this. However, the proposal from WGI was much more detailed and much more in depth with what they were bringing to the table that we felt was extremely valuable in this process. Some of it had to do with a lot of the public outreach and stakeholder interviews and development with the community. That's something that we've discussed over time, is that communication with the community, with business leaders, with stakeholders. So we felt that engagement was really beneficial and worth the additional cost, as well as other innovative techniques that they were putting in their proposal that were not in the BAE proposal. They were creating data dashboards, using technology to get out the message for how the county's performing with certain metrics. The detail of their proposal included just a lot more information, data, and meetings than the other proposal did. So that really did justify for the committee's mind that it was worth, and it was still within budget, to go with the higher cost bid in this case.
And the timeline upon RFP to when they will actually start to then when you expect either milestones or when they're finished with
Absolutely. So the timeline that we have laid out is that it'll be done by the end of this fiscal year. So we're hoping by June of 2023. So I have it very programmed out moving forward for the master plan. As you can imagine, this is one of the first studies. We'll be following up with a housing study. And the goal is to have all these preliminary studies done by beginning of fiscal year of 2025, which would be July 1 of 2024. So all the groundwork will be laid to move forward so we can build upon scenarios for the elected officials that will be in your seats to make decisions on how the next master plan should be, how that really should be set up, and the direction that the community and the elected official want the county to move in for the future.
We don't have any local firms that deal with this?
So when we put out the RFQ, request for qualifications, we invite anyone to participate and come back with bids. Only 2 firms came back. So we have to go by who comes back with the solicitation. We don't go and pick firms. It's a competitive process, but they have to come to us. We invite them, and anyone's open, so no local firms bid.
My only concern is, one firm out of Berkeley, California, and the other one's out of West Palm Beach, Florida.
And that's just where their national headquarters are. They have people locally in both cases.
I understand that, but, here again, Carroll County always does a great job of what Carroll County needs, and all of a sudden we're turning this over to firms on the outside to come back with suggestions here. I understand where you're coming from. Scares me a little bit.
And this is very specialized, and so, you know, because no firms in Carroll came back when we gave a detailed scope, that would lead me to believe that we don't have firms that specifically do what we're requesting in this. Or they don't have the bandwidth or the opportunity to do it. Or I would hope they would have bid on. We advertise these very well. They're out. Everyone knows that wants to participate in our process what that is and how to look for RFPs that are being posted.
The just from my experience, like you said, these are the national headquarters, and consultants are across the country, probably with a Mid-Atlantic team that would be looking specifically at this. I'm making an assumption because I haven't dug into this, but knowing how these firms work, that's kind of, you know, the process is where the back office is in Berkeley and in Florida, wherever they are. But
And they've also done both teams have done work in Maryland, so they're very familiar with the state and the Mid-Atlantic, as you said. They do have people that are in this general area that perform the actual work and that we'll be meeting with.
Yep.
So our hope is as soon as the bid is awarded to begin kickoff and work with them on this 10-month or so process to have a plan prepared for the county.
So this money was in our budget?
Yes.
This couldn't be done internally or locally?
Well, again, locally because no one bid on it, but
No,
internally,
I mean,
this is well beyond our
Originally started
expertise.
this
he's on
with
internally.
people,
Yeah.
a committee set up of all the people in the county that can't.
Highly specialized kind of product that is going to be produced here, yeah.
I mean, it's always good to have a different set of eyes look at these things. I assume this is going to be some sort of a guideline. It's not going to dictate the way in which our new master plan goes, because I can foresee somebody coming in here and Dick, to your comments and to your challenges that you seem to be having. I'm right there with you. It's probably the old school coming out.
Probably.
You know, you almost get to the point where I could give a rat's patoot with somebody that works for whoever, wherever they are, even if they got a guy sitting somewhere, wants to tell us about the direction that our county needs to move in.
So that's
while
not the I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I get, yeah, I'm putting that out there because it could very well go that route. I hope that this is this sort of a guideline, if you will, and that we just say, yeah, okay, well, they said that, but we're going to do this. I hope that that's the case, because I just don't want to get into this cookie cutter thing where we should be doing this because they did it somewhere else and you've got 70,000 acres of this and you should be doing this. Well, who knows better than we as to what we should be doing? I've said it a lot. So, guideline, great, but and it won't be for us to say, but or me, but I just hope it's just a guideline, and then that gets me into, that's an awful big price for just having a guideline sitting beside you. Maybe we do that. So,
Linda, don't need to defend yet. Just, I think I absolutely agree with what you're saying, both of you, and I think that this provides a better understanding and tools for the master plan to be developed. They, whatever company this is, does not design the master plan and does not say, hey, you have a goal of whatever, and, you know, in order to get to the master plan, you got to change things you're
This
doing.
becomes a template for that master plan, whether it's implied or not. It does set the tone for
It
that.
provides an in-depth look of all the pieces that are happening in the county, but I absolutely agree. Nobody knows Carroll County better than Carroll Countyans, and that's why it's, you know, incumbent on us and our community, you know, to participate in developing this master plan. That's also why I always believe that it's very important that we, my colleagues and I, participate in the boards and commissions and outreach in the county, because nobody knows it better than Carroll Countyans. This is a tool to be used with the results that
That is
come out of
correct.
this.
yeah, That's fine, but,
Yeah.
you know, we can do that for less than 165. I mean, again, I understand it's a different
Yeah.
set of eyes, and that's good. I think that's a good thing. Seems like a lot of money to have somebody come in and give us a template, if you will, of
Yeah.
what they think we should be doing with our economic growth or ungrowth, or whatever they're going to call it, and same thing with housing. I mean, you know, there's a lot of young folks out there that have these grandioso ideas when it comes to the smart growth and all of that. And while I applaud that, that's not Carroll. So it just seems like over the last 2 years that I've been sitting on planning, we've got a lot of good people that have a lot of great ideas. And do we really need to bring in a firm from somewhere for $165,000 to tell us something else? That's all. I'm struggling a little bit with that.
But it's also looking out to 10 years or the
Well, we've got people that are looking out to 10 years too. So I don't know. It's just, you know, I don't know. I appreciate the fact that, again, it's a different set of eyes,
Yeah.
which I think is important. But
If someone looking at it from a different perspective that's not prejudiced by living here, if you don't mind me asking, is the guest in here today a representative of this firm? We have a guest in here. I thought maybe.
Hi. Yes, Courtney's here.
All right,
We
with
have
this
not
firm.
met in person, so this is Courtney
Okay, I
Powell
just
with
want-
WGI.
I think it's impressive that they did send someone to
Yes.
witness what's going on. Thank you.
well, it'll be interesting. I mean, Courtney's here, so.
You want
We
to come
didn't
up
really-
here?
I mean,
Yeah,
I
since
think
you're
maybe you could-
so you're kind of like, you know, waiting to hear what our results are. Why don't you come up to the table
Yes,
and
please.
have a seat?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe you
Please.
could.
You snuck in. I didn't know you were here.
So,
Some of
They
these.
let me in
yeah,
outside very
Courtney,
nice,
like
yeah.
you heard some of the discussion. What do you bring to the table as we're developing a master plan that you believe cannot be done either in-house or in other ways?
Sure.
So.
Well, good morning, all commissioners. Thank you again. I'm Courtney Powell, and I'm the planning manager and out of our office in Arlington, so in Roslyn, Virginia, so not far at all. And before I came to WGI, I actually worked on the public sector for many years. I was a planning manager in South Carolina. And so I definitely understand having a robust planning team in-house, but also having the benefits of an outside consultant to come in to work with the community and develop a plan. One of the projects I recently led when I was on the public sector was our 10-year or 20-year, but updated every 10 years, comprehensive plan for the city of Greenville. And I think that's kind of a good example of how our planning department knew the community very well, but in times where you're maybe broaching some new areas, it's good to have a consultant there to basically be the liaison between the municipality or jurisdiction and the community. And I think what Linda had mentioned, that something that we bring to the table is all the public engagement. I know there were some comments and some concerns about us coming in with a preconceived notion and putting that into a template. That's not how we operate, I can tell you that. Each of our proposals, when we submit, are actually redone, packaged specifically for that community. And I think the public engagement part is really where we can help listen and almost respond back to, this is what we heard from you. Is this correct? You tell us if we need to modify or if we need to kind of narrow down or assess out what needs to happen. That's what we're there for. So it's not to dictate a certain direction. So I think that's one of the main things that we do bring to the table and we're very aware of.
How many will be on the team?
So there will be, I think there's 3 or 4. We have a sub-consultant team that's also locally. They're the economic development kind of man-house of this project. And then from our side, we have, is it 6? I'm gonna.
I think we have about six, but we.
Okay.
Resumes.
That's okay.
And then usually for the public engagement side, we bring in everybody, or if we
Mhm.
need to bring in other people to make sure that we have enough hands on deck, or whatever the situation may be, we work with it as it comes.
It seems to be 5 from WGI, and then 4 from Wilden.
Yeah.
Okay. The last master plan that was developed, we did not have outside counsel or outsourced work done, did we?
No, we did not. It was a pickup from something that had begun
Okay.
in fits and starts over 5 years. That we utilized things that were done for a prior plan,
Right.
carried as much into that as possible. But that plan didn't really have a vision for the county. It was more carrying forward what had been done in the past.
Yeah, my concern is we are, again, Carroll County, we're guarded on our resourcing, and we're resource constrained. And we want to maintain all the services that we do for our Carroll Countyans. But in order to get it right and staying resource constrained, having an outsource like this will get us to where we want to go in 10 years. And if we don't do it, I feel like it's going to be a pickup game, as we move along. So, yeah, I'm for this type of outsource because there's too many moving pieces, and my concern is we're just not going to get it right if we don't put
A master plan can be adopted the way it is, can be tweaked, or it can be totally rewritten.
Sure.
And, I just wonder where we are in this the price here to do this is this what we need at this time? I don't know. You did a great job in 14 of moving ahead with a lot of things, considering.
Yeah, it was
a lot of
challenge, I can tell you.
It was a challenge, but
you're right. It didn't really have a vision of where we'd be.
Yeah.
In 8 or 10 years, but I can tell you, I think we're in a good spot in 8 years, even though it didn't have a vision. I think the master plan is boding well to where we're going. You're always going to have those folks that say, well, you didn't put that in the master plan, or you did and you're not following it, but that's whatever.
But that's any master plan.
Right.
It's like Jell-O. It's always changing. I mean, it's carrying it in your hands. It's very fluid.
Well, you want to make it, not jelly. You want to give it more consistency.
Well, you have
That's what this will do, is give
Anyway.
the master plan more consistency, understand the resources to get us over the next 10 years.
And hopefully beyond. I mean, I would say, as a professional planner for over 20 years, that master plan is not how I would have liked to have done a plan. We didn't have the kickoff that we needed to have. It was picking up pieces along the way. So I think this would give the groundwork that's necessary to really, and look, the outcome might be the same. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but the hope is this will give us a good foundation of where Carroll is positioned in the region, and where the community and the elected officials want to move from there.
I like the idea of what was said about the community outreach. You're going to talk to people in the community, you're going to get their input, you're going to find out. I think that's very, very important. And apparently it's costing additional money for that, but that's fine because it takes resources to do that. So you have someone from the outside coming in, but they're going to ask Carroll County people, where do you want to go, what's happening? And I think that's extremely important in formulating this. So I think this will be a very valuable tool as well.
I mean, we say the enemy has a vote, the environment has a vote. COVID, recession, inflation, things that we don't necessarily plan for, and they happen, and then we have to shape things. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult. So I understand the Jell-O piece of it, but this provides more consistency doing this outsource. So
Like cake.
I'd like to make the motion, move the Board of Commissioners award Contract to WGI Incorporated in the amount of $164,500 to provide an economic development and land use study.
Second.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion in a couple seconds. Any further discussion on this?
I would just like to thank Ms. Bell for showing up. You made a very good contribution to this discussion. And this is a very, very controversial issue which future boards will have to deal with. And I think in light of that, the size and scope, that this really isn't that substantial amount to address the hurdle we have to cross on this. So thanks for everyone for participating in this and having the vision to do this. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
I said no.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah, I thought that's, yeah.
I voted
I
against.
apologize, 4-1.
Yeah, 4-1.
Okay.
I was almost there with you, Dick, but
Yeah.
they convinced me. so.
Okay. Anything for open admin? Why don't you come on up, let's do schedules. Just a reminder, once again, 9/11, 8:30 in the morning, we'll be having our a ceremony over at the Carroll County Training Center at 50 Kate Wagner Road, starting promptly at 8:30 on Sunday. On Monday, 3 p.m., Transit Advisory Council, Commissioner Frazier will be attending. Monday, 3 p.m., correct. 7 p.m., I will be participating in the Sykesville Town Meeting over at the Sykesville Townhouse. And then 7:30, Commissioner Boucher will be attending the Mount Airy Town Meeting, Town Hall. On Tuesday, September 13th at 6:30, Commissioner Wentz will be attending and participating in the Tawnytown Lions Club 75th anniversary. And 7 p.m., I will be participating in the Ag Center board meeting. On Wednesday, we have nothing scheduled. Thursday, September 15th, we start open session at 09. We will talking about community development block grant. Oh, I apologize, for West End Springboard Community Services. COVID round 1, public hearing. COVID round 1, what's that? You know?
Comes before round 2.
Is it the monies? Is it the FRP or the?
We'd be having a public hearing. I don't know.
Yeah, but what's the public?
I'll find out.
Okay,
It's not
thanks.
coming to me as to why.
Okay, thank you. Consideration of bond authorizing resolution. Purchase of fire EMS learning platform. Chapter 37, modifications to the existing chapter. Mr. Robinson, Director Robinson, will be leading us through that. MPLS upgrade, T1 to the Ethernet conversion from public safety. So upgrades in our Ethernet in public safety. Greater Baltimore committed to the GBC Public Sector Advisory Meeting. I'll be attending. I'm attending at 2:30. I won't sound so surprised.
Sounds so surprised.
Friday, Saturday, nothing scheduled. Sunday, Commissioner Boucher has the podcast. On Monday, 19th, we have nothing scheduled. There's a chamber breakfast on Tuesday morning, 0800. Commissioner Weaver
I think it's Finksburg Library.
will be at the Finksburg Library sharing his.
I think so.
I heard it was at Exploration Commons.
That's what I was.
Again?
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
It's such a wonderful venue.
Okay, we'll find out where it is, and wherever it is.
It's just what I heard.
It was
I
on my
will
desk this
also.
morning.
I'll also be trying to attend that as well.
If it's at Exploration Commons, I'll be there.
Commissioner Wentz will be participating in the Planning Commission at 09 on Tuesday the 20th. There'll be a town hall at South Carroll Senior Center at 10 o'clock that morning that I will be hosting. Commissioner Weaver and possibly myself will be participating in the Veterans Advisory Meeting at 2 p.m. On that Tuesday, I'll have my second round town hall at 6:30 p.m. that evening at the Senior Center. Just also, those town halls, I will have the school system leadership participating with me at both of those town halls. On Wednesday, September 21st, Mako Initiatives Subcommittee meeting. I will be participating virtually. And then Mako Interim Legislative Committee meeting, Commissioner Frazier and Wentz will be participating virtually at 11. 6 p.m., a walk in the park, the Westminster Veterans Memorial Park. Commissioner Boucher and Frazier will be attending. On Thursday, September 22nd, we have open session at 9. And let's see. Okay, a block grant with the West End Place. Oh, that's right, the Springboard Community Services.
That was on the last agenda.
Oh,
Was
that's a
public hearing.
error.
So
One or the other.
I don't think I have but one on there for that. The item 3 so far.
okay, so these, yeah,
Actually, that was on there too.
yeah, it was.
The only thing that looks like,
Consideration of bond authorizing resolution.
yeah, that was on the last agenda.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
think
not
so
sure.
far I don't have anything yet. for
Okay.
22nd.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. So we will see what's happening on Thursday, September 22nd. On Saturday, September 24th, as mentioned earlier, Miss Carroll County at Westminster High School at 7 p.m. And then on
Anyone
Sunday,
attending that? There's no name.
what's that?
None of your names are there, so is
You're
anyone?
attending.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if anybody
Um,
else wants to go, I have tickets. So let me know. If
Sun-
anybody else wants to attend.
Sunday, September 25th, I have the podcast. And then there's a Farm Bureau membership picnic over at Shipley Arena
I'll be there too.
that I will be attending with Commissioner Weaver
And I think Commissioner Boucher, did you say you were
Yeah,
going to attend
I
that?
replied
and
it. I'll
Commissioner
be there.
Boucher. Just make sure something. Yeah, that was a little funky. Okay, did I miss anything? I'm sure we'll fill up September 22nd. If we don't, then we'll make a decision on whether we're going to have open or not.
We could go for a walk in the park.
Okay, what I need now is a motion to recess and then go into closed.
So moved.
Second.
Well,
Motion to go into
Wait a minute.
closed.
yeah,
Your motion to go into closed.
motion to go into closed.
Right.
Okay.
Second. That work?
And then motion to.
Well, gotta vote on that
adjourn
first.
after. Huh?
Vote on that first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aye.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
A motion to.
Motion
adjourn.
to adjourn after closed.
There you go.
Second.
Okay,
Aye.
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 Dick.
Thank you, Wanda.
Commissioner Weaver. Okay.
That was easy.
That was about